So we're looking at passive voice today, what it is and why it should not be done. So somebody tell me what passive voice is if you think you know what it is. You remember from your last English class. Chris?
The action is before the subject or the doer.
And the action is before the subject or the doer. Do you guys think that's right?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look. Okay, passive voice, or PV, as I'm sure all of your English teachers like to put on your papers, okay, is exactly that. It's when the object of the action becomes the subject of the sentence, or it's when there's the emphasis is inverted as to how it should be. Does that make sense? So let's take a look at this sentence right here. Okay, the road was crossed by the chicken. What is the action happening in the sentence? Crossing, okay. What is the subject of the sentence? I hear the road and I hear the chicken. What is the subject of this sentence?
The road.
The road. Is the road what you want to emphasize? No. Okay, it's the chicken. So see the inversion. This is actually the object that's being crossed. This should be the subject. It's what's doing the action. Okay? So let's take a look. You have to forgive me. I'm a little clumsy with this whole pen thing. Okay, so why does it matter? Like, so what? So what? I use passive voice. It doesn't matter. It actually does. Okay? It strengthens your writing when you can cut out passive voice, okay? It makes your writing much more clear and much more strong. And it also, when you use passive voice, sometimes it's unintentionally softening responsibility when you really shouldn't. And I'm going to give you an example, okay, of each one. Okay, so making your writing less clear, here's just a little tiny simple answer or response, okay? The pizza was eaten by Stephen. Is it pizza day today, by the way?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, super excited. Okay, so the pizza was eaten by Stephen. Where's the passive voice? What's happening here? Okay, pizza is the object. It should be later on in the sentence. This is the, okay, so to make it more active, how could we do that? Stephen ate the pizza. Okay, pretty easy. Okay, you're writing. The writing gets more clear when you can do that. Okay. Now I want to talk about this one for a second. Softening responsibility when it shouldn't. You'll see this in your history textbooks quite a bit. Have you ever seen this statement before? 6 million Jews were killed in World War II. Okay. Using passive voice construction, correct? Okay. What's doing the action? Do we know?
No.
It doesn't state it. Okay. What's missing? The responsibility by whom? Okay. Again, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to make us super depressed, but it's important. Okay. This construction, this passive voice construction, takes away the responsibility. And it wasn't World War II that killed the Jews. What would you state that's an accurate representation? Okay, the Nazi Party, or if you wanted to get, I mean, you could talk about the German people, but we're not going to go there. The Nazi Party killed 6 million Jews. See the difference? Okay, so let's continue. Oops. Touch. Okay. Okay. So let's look at this construction just a little bit closer. This is basically the same sentence. One is in passive voice construction and one isn't. Okay. A new system of drug control laws was set up. What are we missing?
Who said it?
Who said it? Who set it up? By whom? Where's the responsibility? Okay, so it's unclear. It leaves your reader wondering more. And you could say something much more concisely and more accurately and a stronger construction if you go ahead and make active voice. Does that make sense? Are we good? Okay.
So basically, you just can't leave any question, like after reading the sentence.
Yeah, you don't want to leave in. That's a good point. You don't want to make the reader work harder than they need to. Okay, you and the reader should partner together to make something worthwhile. The reader has to work, as we know, but you have to work as well. Okay, so how do you spot passive voice? It's pretty straightforward. You're going to have a form of the verb to be, and these are the different forms: am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been, which, by the way, is the wimpiest, the weakest of our verbs that we have in the English language. It's the weakest verb. And we use it the most often in our writing. And we're going to quit that this year. We're going to start writing little dead faces next to it because we just don't want it anymore. Okay? So when we see to be, when we see a form of to be plus the past participle, which is just a fancy way of saying past tense of a verb, basically something that ends in ed, okay? When we see that construction, we're using passive voice. The passive voice is used far too often by most students, okay? We get it? That is using passive voice. You get the irony? Thank you. Okay, making sure you're awake. Okay, so how do we fix it? How do we fix it? Okay, it's pretty simple. We make the actor of the sentence the subject of the sentence. We make sure that we have the right person doing the right thing. So here's again 2 examples of saying the same thing. Tom and Huck are portrayed as. So recognizing it is pretty easy once you know what to look for, right? A form of the be verb and the past participle, the ed. Making it active, you need to make the subject who does the action. Twain portrays Tom and Huck as, okay? So we changed that little wimpy, weak verb to something that says something a little bit more strongly, and we've made our sentence stronger and our style stronger. Does that make sense? Questions so far? Okay. Okay, so is passive voice ever okay? Yeah, it is. There are actually sometimes where it's okay. It's usually not preferable, but there are 3 instances where it's going to be okay for you to use it, okay? And I want to show you what those are really quickly, and then we're going to practice on yours. Okay, passive voice is okay when you actually want to emphasize the object and not the doer, okay? For example, just a quick example pulled from the newspaper. 100 votes, and you would write that out, are required to pass the bill. Okay, is that passive voice? Is the construction passive voice?
Yeah.
Absolutely, okay? Would it make the sentence any more clear if we switched anything around? The bill requires 100 votes, okay? So I think that's a little stronger, but this isn't necessarily wrong, okay? And I want to make sure you're understanding, passive voice isn't necessarily wrong, it's a matter of style. So it just makes your paper stronger. So even changing this one, I think, would make it a little stronger. But sometimes you want to emphasize that object, and passive voice is okay. Okay, a second time passive voice is going to be okay. It's when you want to de-emphasize an unknown actor. Like you want to de-emphasize if you don't know who's doing what, if you can't figure that out. Okay. Like I'll just read an example. Over 120 different contaminants have been dumped into the river. If you don't know who's doing the dumping, then you can't really change that sentence. Does that make sense? Okay, now let's move to the third one, the last one. I like this one. If your readers really don't care, for instance, there are some examples that are going to be actually more confusing with passive voice, okay? So let's do this one. Baby Jane was born at 3:30 in the morning. Okay, passive voice. Would it be stronger on a baby announcements to say, Dr. Jones delivered baby Jane at 3:30? If you're sending out a baby announcement, is anybody going to care who that is? No, and I think the mother would be kind of upset too, like, oh, I had something to do with it, okay? So if your readers don't care, and you do want to emphasize the object, then you can use passive construction. Okay? All right, so we're going to try with some of your writing. So go ahead and grab your computers, open it up to your essay. Okay, and I'm going to pause this for a few minutes while you find, I want you to find one example, and I'm pretty sure you have one, of passive voice in your paper, and then we'll come back and try to fix it. You found one? Yeah, go ahead and tell me what it is if you don't mind. If you're brave enough to, we'll fix it for you. Okay, go ahead and read it out loud.
None of these feats can be accomplished by an average person.
Okay, so first let's look at Jenny's sentence. None of these feats could be accomplished by an average person. Is that passive voice construction?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, because we know we can recognize the form of be and the past tense, okay? Can we make it sound a little bit stronger? Say it a little louder. The average.
Oh, the average person can never accomplish.
Any of these feats.
Okay. Does that have passive construction? No. Okay. Does it strengthen the sentence significantly? Not too bad. Okay. Wow. Sorry.
Oh,
Still working out the kinks. Okay. It doesn't. It makes it a little bit stronger. But this is one of those instances where, although you do use passive voice, it's not terribly cumbersome, okay? I would like for you to change it just so you can kind of get in the habit of changing it. If we can kind of work that out of our papers. Anybody have another one? Okay, hold on one second. We got some brave souls. Okay, what's yours?
Roy's mood and actions.
Shh. Hey guys, listen up. Start again.
Roy's mood and actions are greatly affected by Iris's presence.
Okay, good one. And you've spelled affected with an A, right?
Yeah.
Of course you did. Why would you do that?
Because
Okay, affect with an A is what?
verb.
Exactly, it's the action. It's not the cause/effect, it's the verb. Okay, Roy's mood and actions are greatly affected by Iris's presence. Is she right? Is that passive voice? Yes, okay. Are greatly affected. Can we change that and make it a little bit stronger? Okay, Brandon, how would we do that? Ah. If I could spell, it'd be awesome. Greatly affects Roy's mood and actions. Ding, 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 we have a winner. Okay? Anybody have one more you want to try? We kind of got the gist of it? Okay, I think we're good. This will be posted. This will be posted as kind of, we'll do several of these. This will be common writing mistakes #1, passive voice, so you can refer back to it if you ever kind of get confused as to what to do and how to change it.